Thank you, Dan, and a very good evening to you. Watford and Sheffield United last into bat, having had the opportunity to peruse the performances of their fellow contenders. This is the end of the first weekend of EFL action, which has provided its customary mix of headlines, drama, and the unexpected, where some stocks have risen as others have fallen, and where first impressions have, in some cases, contradicted perceived wisdom. One game in, 45 to go. The race is never won or lost on the opening day. But as pieces in the jigsaw go, the first one's often amongst the most important, doing so much to set the tone for the immediate future, if not for the whole 9 months. And a few places is that more prevalent than here at Vicarage Road. This really is a first impression, and a club that has seen plenty of them. Rod Edwards, the first manager to lead the Hornets into battle, the club's fourth within the last 12 months, the latest through the well-oiled revolving door. His appointment a change of direction after the two septuagenarians that preceded him. If he's considerably younger even than the managerial career of the man that he's replaced, he has his own burgeoning reputation, honed at the FA, nurtured in Nailsworth. So what next in Watford? Well, their last trip down to the Championship saw an instant return, but Sheffield United can testify how difficult that is to achieve. The scars of relegation can fester, but the Blades' wounds are long since healed. When Paul Heckingbottom took over in November, they were 16th in the table. They've had the third best record since then. They're not going to have to improve too much on that over the course of this season if they're to succeed. Playoff angst can often be the catalyst to success, as Bournemouth showed. And the clear pedigree of both of these teams makes this a mouth-watering appetizer for their seasons. They line up like this: Backman in goal for Watford, Cathcart, Cabaselli and Sierralta, Kamara, Kayembe, Cleverley and Sema, and then Joao Pedro with Sarr and Dennis either side of him. The Watford bench: Gakir, Trostikong, Manai, Gosling, Aspria, Bayo and Hamer. Sheffield United Fotheringham in goal, new boy Kieran Clark at centre-half alongside Egan and Stevens, Baldock, Berger, Norwood, Fleck and Norrington Davis, Jefferson and Ndiaye up front. And the Blades bench: Brewster, Sharp, Cadra, Lowe, Osborne, Gordon and Amissa. That round of applause for the new man, Rob Edwards, who takes charge of Watford for the first time. 10 years ago next week was Gianluca Zola's first game in charge of Watford. Edwards, the 16th permanent manager they've had in the last decade since then. The players have taken the knee, a reminder there is no room for racism. So we're underway, few moments relished quite like this, the shrill sound of the whistle that signals we're off and running for Watford and Sheffield United, the start of another journey of unpredictability, maelstrom and magnificence between now and May. Watford kicking from left to right in this first half in their yellow shirts, black shorts, and Sheffield United are defending the end of the ground that houses their fans in this half of it, red and white striped shirts, black shorts, and they're in possession. The ball worked out towards the right-hand touchline, looking for Jefferson, who had a very productive loan spell in the first half of last season in League One at Burton, where he very nearly hit double figures, and he gets his chance ahead of Sharp and Brewster in the starting lineup as Hillman and Dye's partner tonight. Ball out of play. It's a throw which Sheffield United will take on the far side. We're a minute into the first game of their season, and alongside me here on TalkSport 2, the former Republic of Ireland striker David Connolly.
How you doing, Jim? I mean, just looking at Sheffield United, very direct so far. As soon as they can, they're getting the ball up to the front too, and on the front foot here, the Blades.
And Brewster finds Stevens and towards John Fleck on the bottom left-hand side of the penalty area. Stevens taking it down towards the byline. Opportunity potentially for him to whip the ball in. He's eventually turned it inside the box. A low right-footed skidding clearance, which is cleared by Cabaselli, then brought under control by Norrington Davis, who's keeping an eye on Sarr in these early stages. Now Sander Berger, still a blade for now, takes it down towards the corner flag. And the Norwegian will check, fires the ball in, clear by the chest of Kayembe, and then brought down on the right-hand touchline. Little nutmeg didn't quite come off, and Stevens saw it coming and wins it back and flicks it through the midfield for Norwood, who tries to turn, but he's been well dispossessed in the midfield by Emmanuel Dennis, and Dennis will make his way forward. Joao Pedro to his right-hand side. Ismail Assar's made his way into the middle. Dennis will try and get round the back and just overran the ball under a little bit of pressure from Norrington Davis, and it goes out of play for a goal kick which will be taken away to our right-hand side. Both sides with opportunities to impress inside the opening 2.5 minutes or so. One piece of housekeeping, incidentally. Sheffield United got Enda Stevens playing at left wing-back, Norrington Davis playing on the left of the three centre-halves. It's 0-0.
Yeah, that's right, and he's already been in the Watford box, hasn't he? Stevens, he'll raid up and down. They've started very well, Sheffield United, really comfortable on the ball, playing out from the back, keeping it on the deck, not afraid to go into the front. There they go again. You know, Fleck, he's got terrific footwork in the middle of the park. I mean, you know, Sanderberg's big. He's got real physicality about him.
Stevens rolls one down the inside left channel. Jefferson's going to have to chase, but he's going to get there. All he could do was beat the ball to the line. He wrapped his left foot around it, but with little consequence, and it just dribbles its way through to the Watford goalkeeper Daniel Bachmann, the Austrian international. Very much first choice here now that Ben Foster has departed. Watford bringing the ball out over on the far touchline with Cathcart, who's playing on the left of the three centre-halves. From him to Sierralta in the middle, and now to Cabaselli on the right. And back for Sierralta again, who just rolls the studs of his right boot over the top of the ball on the edge of the D. Fired for by Cabaselli. Long ball looking for Sarr. John Egan deals with him. And then Norwood, Fleck and Berger all work very well in tandem in the Sheffield United midfield. An opportunity to get George Baldock free down the right-hand side. Baldock, who's since he last played for Sheffield United, become a fully fledged Greek international. And he's worked it down the right for Ndai, whose clearance just bobbles off Cathcart and then back into him, and out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Watford left-hand side. 4 minutes gone on TalkSport 2. It's Watford 0, Sheffield United 0.
Yeah, and you mentioned that midfield three for Sheffield United. We spoke about it with Dan at the start. You know, they know each other's games so well, got a nice mix of everything.
But they've been bypassed here, because it's an opportunity for Dennis to try and play in. Sarr left-hand side of the area, side netting only. Few on this side of the ground thought it was in, but the angle was prohibitive. Fotheringham had that near post covered. It's a side of goal, but nothing more for Ismail Assar.
Well, I think he should have brought the goalkeeper here. It's a great run, you know, straight pass from Dennis, in behind for Sarr, left-hand side in the area. He's just got to really wrap his left foot around this, twist his hips. He doesn't enough, comes off the side netting, and it looks from this angle like he went in the goal, but he's got to work the keeper. He's got to at least hit the target there.
He's only scored one goal in his last 16 games, Ismail Assar, since the end of September. And that came in the home win against Manchester United here, which I'm sure you know is the last time Watford won here at Vicarage Road. It was back in November. They've not won here since the manager before last. Norrington Davis playing it forward. Ndai just dropping off, wearing 29 for the Blades, into the midfield for a moment, and he's lent it back to Norwood. Now played forward by Berger. Fleck into the feet of Ndai. Jefferson ahead of him. Stevens in space on the Sheffield United left. It's turned back for Sanderberger instead. George Baldock on the right-hand side of the penalty area fires it in, but Sierralta's there, and the Chilean international can knock it away. Out of play for a throw, which will be taken over on the Sheffield United right. 6 gone, 0-0.
Yeah, they're working it really well, Sheffield United. You know, that midfield three, Norwood just sits in front. They've got Berg and Fleck ahead, so it's almost matched up against the Watford midfield three as well. Joao Pedro's almost standing on the toes of Norwood the whole time, those two in each other's shadows, but at the minute Sheffield United settled really well.
The possession in decent areas as well, the Blades, when they have had the ball. A lot of it has been away to our left-hand side, the rookery end. It's got out of play now for a goal kick, which will be taken by Daniel Bachmann. That home record, unenviable, just 1 point from the last 13 games. And yeah, it's a different division, it's a different manager, a few different players as well, but a few of them must be battle scarred. They have
Absolutely,
to be, because there'll be players in this Watford side who've never won here.
That's right, yeah, and it's something you've got to get over. As we said, we touched on it earlier, you know, a couple of seasons ago when they went up, best record at home in all 4 divisions, not just the Championship.
They're in possession, and Watford will work it forward here with Joao Pedro. Kamara making his way into space on the right-hand side. It was a heavy first touch, but that just saw Stevens dive in. Kamara plays it in, not with the quality that was necessary, and Fleck's there on the edge of the 6-yard box to knock it away for the first corner of Watford's new season. 7 gone, 0 now.
Yeah, he could have gone to ground there, couldn't he, Kamara? In the end, rode the challenge, and he looked a bit unsure playing that cross in with his right foot. Didn't really pick anyone out. As it is, they got a set piece, and they're a big team, Watford, as well. Set piece is going to be so important.
So the centre-halves have come forward. Ken Sema is the player who's going to be firing this in. Siralta, who didn't make a single Watford appearance under Hodgson, is one of those jockeying for position, and he makes his way in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. The ball didn't quite get there. Flicked up in the air by Joao Pedro. Cleared by Stevens, but only out for Sema. A clever touch around the back of Stevens. Joao Pedro fires it in again. Handed away by Egan on the edge of the 6-yard box, but Watford are picking up lots of second ball at the moment. Sema down for Sarr. Sarr taking it down towards the corner flags. He won another. It's looped up off Stevens. Flex there to clear. Norwood takes a touch under pressure. Plays it back for Stevens, who's got the wherewithal to be able to turn, as can Ndiaye. That's a great piece of control. He's done really well. He was fouled there by Kamara, who's pulling his shirt, but the referees played a good advantage. But it was just magnificent play by Iliman Ndiaye.
Yeah, I tell you what, the pass into him from Stevens, he dropped it on a plate right onto his sort of chest, and terrific control. It's been a very high quality standard game of football so far. Yeah, really good.
You can see why these two are in the top 4 or 5 in the betting in the Championship. And okay, it might be the first Monday of the season, as we've said. Whatever happens tonight, nothing happens in the grand scheme of things, but they will both be up there. They're going to be able to justify the bookmakers' faith in
Absolutely, yeah.
Norrington Davis, the Welsh international, playing it down the left-hand touchline, and then Ndiaye, who's causing problems for the Watford backline, wins a free kick here.
He's quite short in stature, isn't he, Ndiaye? But he's really strong, gets hold of it, and he's been a thorn in the Watford side so far. Really good at ball to feet. He's very, very sharp. Started well here, Ndiaye.
Ndiaye, who played his non-league football.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, I was at Loftus Road at Kyan Prince last season, and Sheffield United were so sharp in situations like this. Set-piece situation, really bright ideas. Let's see what they got up their sleeve.
Well, so this is a couple of yards in for the left-hand touchline, and it's about 15 yards shy of the edge of the penalty area. Fleck comes towards the ball. It's Norwood that fires it in, unsurprisingly. Tom Cleverley can head it away, and then Enda Stevens will turn it all the way back for his goalkeeper, Wes Foderingham, who made his name at Swindon, but more recently has played nearly 150 games at Rangers. First choice Blades goalkeeper since their relegation. And he has the ball now. He's driven it forward, left-footed, out towards the far touchline, where it's easily headed away by Sema, then helped on by Kayembe. Brought down by Dennis, but he had the red and white shirts all around him. Egan then has to dive in, and he does so cleanly to get the ball away from Joao Pedro. Quick ball turned over the top for the run of Dennis down the left-hand side of the area. Foderingham, with great anticipation, was quickly out of his 6-yard box and showed a clean pair of hands to get to it and bring it back under control. 10 high-quality minutes of race by. It's 0-0 here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, just look at Sheffield United, how they line up in the midfield. I mean, you've got Norwood who sits at the base, Fleck to the left-hand side and Berg to it, but Berg really keeps his width. He's almost like a wide man, and the ball's on the left-hand side. Now he's got his arm up. He's completely unmarked, saying, go on, can you fire the ball into it? That's the challenge from Fleck. He's bypassed him here. That's not a bad pass, though.
Out towards Baldock, and the bounce was a little bit lively. And it ricochets away and goes out of play for a throw. It's only 23 days since Elton John did his 2 concerts here. They haven't had too long to grow the grass. Watford's ground staff will be the first to admit that whilst they have done extremely well with what they've been given, it's not the pristine bowling green surface that others might have at this stage of the season. It will improve. And maybe just took a slightly lively bounce. The pass there from Fleck to get away from George Baldock. Watford will be able to bring it forward now with Dennis. Dennis trying to get Egan at the edge of the area. Drops his shoulder, right-footed shot, loops up off Egan. And it's comfortably caught by Wes Foderingham. 0-0.
Sharp move there, wasn't it, from Dennis? Really sharp. I think Egan did well because Dennis was just trying to reverse this towards the near post, going diagonally across the box. Smart little finish, but Egan blocked it well.
Foderingham gets it away. High ball spinning out towards the far touchline where Sander Berge, who's very tall, he's 6'3", 6'4", can head it on, and he goes through towards Backman. Berger's still a Sheffield United player for now, but he has been linked with all and sundry. Leeds, Leicester, Brentford, Club Brugge in Belgium as well. I think Sheffield United will certainly want to at least recoup the £22 million that they spent for him when they were a Premier League side.
I'll tell you what, he very rarely moves from his position as a right-sided attacking midfielder. They keep their width, him and Fleck, just to really stretch cleverly and the lights in the middle of the park. And if they can work it right, they get it into him, then bang, them out the other side of Bulldog. He's the free man at the minute, Berg.
Who's the happier of the two managers with 12 minutes gone?
Well, Heckenbottom for sure. They settled down really well coming here.
And yet for the possession that they've had, there is the omnipresent threat of Watford being able to potentially run at that Blades back line and find some space. They've had a couple of sights of goal with Sarr hitting the side netting. Sheffield United work it forward here. Baldock herring after it, but he couldn't beat it before it went out of play for a goal kick that will be taken away to our left-hand side by Daniel Backman.
I think what Watford have that a lot of sides won't is the X factor, right? When it goes into the front, Dennis, João Pedro, Son, they just come alive. And once they get past that midfield of Sheffield United, then they're at you, and they look really threatening. It's just they need the ball a little bit more, but they have that X factor, that bit of magic that maybe some other sides don't have.
And Watford fans, I'm sure will be saying, well, we got it at the moment, we got it on August the 1st, will we still have it on September the 1st? I think replacements will be incoming if one of the three that's starting tonight is no longer here. And you'd have to say the laws of probability are such that at least one of the three will go. This yellow card of the new season is going to be brandished here. And it was a poor challenge by Kieran Clark. He just came up towards the halfway line. Dennis tried to spin him. Clark stopped that happening. Yeah. And Kieran Clark's in the book.
Yeah, because he knows Clark, once he gets to the other side, he's not going to catch him. I mean, into feet, he's looked really, really good. A bit like Ndai. Can move the ball, manipulate it, go left and right, drop his shoulder, then he's away.
And Kieran Clark in the book. First yellow card of the new season. It's his first match at this level for a good few years, 5 years since he won this division with Newcastle back in the 16-17 season, which is his only previous championship campaign in his career. Hoping to be able to replicate that with Sheffield United. He's on loan with the Blades from Newcastle for the course of this campaign. Ball's gone out for a throw. The Watford free kick came to nothing. George Baldock has the ball in his hand about 10-12 yards inside the Watford half over on the far side. Jim Pravin and David Connolly talking through the action from Vicarage Road. I don't know, the ball in front of the Graham Taylor stand on the far side at the moment. It's 0-0 with 15 minutes played on TalkSport 2 at the end of a fascinating opening weekend of EFL action. And Sheffield United are on the front foot again, and quite link up with Jebison. It's one of the few mistakes that he's made so far, the young man who played his non-league football just a stone's throw away from here at Boreham Wood. Just trying to slip Jebison in, but he got the angle wrong, and he goes out of play for a goal kick that Backman will take.
Yeah, just a couple of times, I guess, a few misplaced passes, the longer ones. We saw Norwood dropping in, played a big raking diagonal, skipped off the turf in that time as well.
Talking playing non-league football in this part of the world, Stuart Pearce, a former Wealdstone man, is on breakfast tomorrow over on TalkSport between 6 and 10 alongside Ali McCoist and Alan Brazil. Gabby Logan and Bobby Zamora amongst their guests. 6 till 10 tomorrow morning over on TalkSport. Watford on the front foot here inside the penalty area. It's set up for Dennis, didn't get a hold of it at all. A left-footed scupper that was easy for Fotheringham to say, but that was good approach play from Watford with Semmer involved down the left-hand side.
Yeah, great burst of pace, speed there from Semmer down the outside, cut back cross, and it was well set to Dennis, as you say, just a scuff finish, tricky one. You've got to say, ball coming across the pitch onto his weaker left side, and wasn't a clean connection.
Well, like Sarr, he struggled for goals at the back end of last season, one in his last 11 games, which came against Brentford. It did take him into double figures, the only time in his career that he has had that bigger return in terms of league goals in his career. Emmanuel Dennis clearly saw his stock rise, though, despite a disappointing end of the campaign. Serralta heads it away, goes out for a throw, which will be taken on the left-hand side by Stevens. Serralta just giving Ndiaye a little push after the ball had gone over the line and out. Throw to the Blades, which they'll take level with the edge of the penalty area. It was into the feet of Fleck and then came back behind Stevens. And out of play for a throw, which will be taken now on the Watford right-hand side. It's a difficult start that both of these teams have got. This game difficult for the pair of them, and then Watford have got West Brom away, Burnley at home, the Blades starting here tonight, League Cup tie with Millwall, and then West Brom away, Middlesbrough away, Sunderland. I mean, that's a tricky start.
Yeah, and Blackburn as well, so yeah, it is a tough start. And as he said last season, you know, they got off to a bad start, lost 3 of the first 4, and just gave themselves a little bit too much to do, so they want to start well, and they have started well here, but it's the early days.
Ball out for a throw. Although Stevens has, in fact, been judged to have fouled his man. It's going to be a free kick which will be taken right in the right back position on the touchline itself by Daniel Backman, who's going to come across to spot it down. Watford have won promotion in each of their last 2 championship seasons. They finished as runners-up back in 2021 and before that in 2015, which was the prelude to a decent sustained spell of top flight football here in Hertfordshire. Floodlights are on and they're having some effect as well now. Sema coming back, tracks the run of Jebison and flicks it away from him. Turns, gets a return ball and plays it back for Serralta. Serralta to his left-hand side for Cathcart, who's been part of the furniture here for a good few years now. And Craig Cathcart down for Cabaselli. Cabaselli forward. Dennis just trying to spin his man, got the better of Ender Stevens for a moment with a little drag back, but ran out of room on the near touchline, and it goes out for a throw, which Reece Norrington-Davis will take for Sheffield United right in front of us, about 10 yards inside the half that the Blades are defending in this first period here on TalkSport 2, where it's still 0-0, 19 entertaining minutes behind us without either goalkeeper having had a difficult save to make so far. Sheffield United making slow progress down the left-hand side. Got another throw here with Ender Stevens.
Yeah, certainly if you look at both teams, you know, when the Blades are playing out from the back, they look pretty comfortable, to be honest. You know, if they're in in goal, no problem. Left, right, short, long, gives it to the back 3. They work it into midfield. They look very, very comfortable. Watford, less so. At the back, a little bit shaky, goes into midfield, everything's, you know, maybe a little bit of a fight ball. That's the picture of the game so far.
Here's Berger, and they haven't closed him down, and he lets fly from distance, and Backman got his hands behind it, saves at the second attempt, and got his grip around the ball in plenty of time before John Fleck could pick up any pieces, but Sander Berger just been given the licence to push forward there towards the edge of the area and have a shot.
He's in that position, Jim. It's almost like when you watch basketball where they see this through.
As it's played over the top of the other end, and it takes a little bit of defending. Appeals for handball from the Sheffield United back line. I think John Egan's claim that perhaps flicked it on illegally was upheld by the referee, but play goes on. Fotheringham's got it.
I mean, when the ball's on the left-hand side, Jim, I mean, Berger keeps his width as a right attacking midfielder, and what they're trying to do, like basketball, they shift it, get the free man for the 3-shot, you know, 3-pointer, wherever it may be, and that's what they're trying to do, and it worked to Berger there. Got a good shot, wasn't closed down, and he is the one, if they can get the ball to, he's often free, often spare.
Norrington-Davis plays it forward, and battling but losing that battle. Watford get it away, appeals for handball, this time against Clark, who then just punts it forward claiming he was pushed, but referee Josh Smith didn't think it was a push or a handball, and play starts again with a throw which will be taken on the Watford left. They've worked it very quickly back for Backman, play that towards Cabaselli, and the Belgian will work it forward now towards halfway. Midway through the first half, 0-0. Norwood sliding in, man who's got promoted from this division 3 times in the past, all with different clubs, including Sheffield United a few seasons ago now. Hassan Kamara taking a throw, getting it back from Joao Pedro, heading it on, getting the return ball. Stevens sliding in. Kamara knew that he wasn't going to be able to win a corner from that, so forced to play it, but he's knocked it off Stevenson now to play for a throw, which will be taken quickly. And Kamara swings it in. Left-footed, good delivery towards the far post, but slight mistiming of the jump for Dennis. He was on his way down by the time the ball got to him, and it's come off the top of his head and gone out of play for a goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, he's always stretching. I mean, he's playing right-sided, but he left-footer, isn't he?
Yes.
So he cuts in field on his left, and it's a hard one when you're a striker to get on the end of, slightly above Dennis. Couldn't keep it down.
Yeah, two left-footers at wing-back. Ken Sema playing on his natural side, and Kamara playing on the wrong side, if you like. Watford have a free kick now. Foul in the midfield. A bit of speculation that Tom Bashiru might get the nod ahead of Tom Cleverley in the midfield for Watford, notwithstanding the fact that Cleverley has the captain's armband for Rob Edwards. Bashiru had a very good loan spell at Reading last year, and he hasn't made the matchday squad, and it is Tom Cleverley that stands over this free kick. And nearly all of his outfield teammates are ahead of him. It's chipped in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. I think Jefferson probably got the shout to leave it. They believed it was going to curve out of play for a goal kick. It didn't get there. It's been kept in on that far touchline. Laid back now towards Ismail Assar. Siralta's still forward. He lets it run through towards Dennis, who ends up on his knees inside the penalty area. But no foul by John Fleck. Referee Smith waving Dennis back to his feet, thought that he made the most of a pretty non-existent challenge, and then Ndiaye cleverly try and square up to each other, and Siralta gets involved, and so too Fleck, and the referee has got to go and very quickly calm things down.
Well, I mean, Fleck's got to be careful here. I don't think there was that much contact in the box. He just sort of wrestled him, came away with the ball, but then he's just raised his arms a little bit towards Siralta. There's a little bit of a coming together. He's got to be careful here, Fleck. He just can't do that.
Well, the referee has reached for the card. There's going to be a yellow card for Fleck and a yellow card for Siralta.
He had no need to get involved in that, Fleck, because he's run about 20 yards, obviously to help his team out, but they kind of didn't really need him there. He's going to go in the book, yeah.
And Siralta as well. So Fleck and Siralta both booked after that confrontation. Clark already on a yellow card, so 3 inside the opening 24 minutes. I haven't seen a replay of the penalty incident. I think our initial reaction, both of us, was that it would have been soft at best, but there was nothing in it at all.
You just got to be careful, haven't you? Whenever you put your arms on anybody, bouncing ball, just obviously Fleck doesn't allow João Pedro to take it down in the area, so he's aggressive on him, but just got to be careful.
Play's going to restart with a Sheffield United free kick, which was for the foul on Ndiaye. And Norrington Davis is the man that stands over it. Last season, his breakthrough campaign with the Blades, had a loan spell with Luton. It's a very good effect a couple of years ago, but hasn't been reminded of that by the Watford supporters so far. Possibly oblivious to the fact, I don't know. We're 25 minutes in, it's 0-0. Kabasari back for Siralta. Siralta controls the ball on the edge of the D, the edge of his own penalty area, finds Craig Cathcart. Cathcart, a veteran of more than 230 games for Watford. Long ball punted forward, and Kieran Clark on his Blades debut gets it back for his goalkeeper. Fotheringham towards halfway. Tom Cleverley heads it straight at Fleck. Big handball shout was immediate from the Watford supporters. Nothing given from the referee, and Baldock will quickly get it forward down the Sheffield United right. Berger tries to fire in across. The Watford back line stopped him from doing so. Baldock comes back and chases with Sema and with Kayembe, I beg your pardon. The ball ends up going out of play, and it will be a Sheffield United throw over on that far touchline. Plenty of midfield skirmish now, without necessarily the game getting stretched in the way that it was in the first 10-12 minutes. The quarter of an hour that we've had since then has been more of an even contest. 0-0 it remains on TalkSport 2, your home of EFL action. Of course, the start of the Premier League season coming your way Friday, and we've got that for you at Selhurst Park Friday night, an 8 o'clock kickoff. Crystal Palace against Arsenal, and you won't hear it anywhere else on national radio. The second game of the Premier League season, also live and exclusive to TalkSport on a Game Day Live. Fulham against Liverpool. Fulham's first game back in the top flight, and that's Saturday 12:30. Spurs Southampton here on TalkSport 2 is our live game at 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Here and now, Monday night, very pleasant night, a little bit of cloud cover now after a searingly hot afternoon in the home counties. 27 minutes in, Watford 0, Sheffield United 0 the score. And these are the thoughts of David Connolly.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been that much goal manufacturing, has there, of late. I think the referee has also tried to let a few things go. You know, it's been a bit bitty, but also he can't keep stopping it. So at times he's let the game try to flow, but from its early pace, it has settled down a little bit.
Ball's out for a throw. Norrington Davies is going to take him on the Sheffield United left. He's just drying the ball on his shirt. Bit of perspiration on his hands potentially as well. He's nicked a good 4 or 5 yards before hurling it forward. Jebison came back to meet it, followed every step of the way by Cabaselli, and it's put out of play for a throw, which again will be taken on the Sheffield United left, and Stuart McCall just acts as the ball boy for the Blades for the moment.
Just looking at their positions as well, Sheffield United, you know, they don't really move that much. They're hoping to work the ball, get it back and come out the other side as sort of quickly as they can. Let's see, in this sort of situation, just falling short with the layoff.
And Stevens is the man that's lost it, and Dennis is in behind him. Sarr made a run ahead of him, but too early, would have been offside. So João Pedro's played in. Good ball from him in towards Ken Sema, and it was a vital touch from Kieran Clark to steer it away for a corner. That was better from Watford.
Yeah, it was much, but I mean, what an interception. Taking off the toe of Ken Sema. Brilliant defending from Kieran Clark. Read the little pass, read the run of Sema as well. Had to make that intervention, did well.
Sema will go across to take the corner. On set-piece duty from each flank. He's worked this one short in towards João Pedro. Sema gets it back. The Swede lays it off for Cleverley. Cleverley now to Kayembe on the edge of the area, and they'll get another corner because Norwood came out to meet it, and it just took a little flick off him and flies over the bar. Third corner without reply for Watford as we approach the half-hour mark, still 0-0.
Yeah, they just tried something different there. The first few just put straight in the box. This one took it short, trying to work the angle for the strike. Let's see what they got up their sleeve. I imagine, you know, pre-season will be working on one or two things, a little set piece, something different.
Sema that comes across to take it. This is going to be an in-swinger from this right flank. They've got 3 in a line by the penalty spot. Cabaselli not too far away from them. Norrington Davies has got his eye on him. João Pedro at the near post. It's hit in deeper towards Cathcart. He didn't get a clean jump on the ball. Cabaselli couldn't time his jump. Cathcart can pick it up on the left-hand touchline, and Watford will come again. Sarr taking it down towards the dead ball line, faced up by Sander Berger. Everybody stopped for a moment, as did the ball. Now it's laid back. Cathcart swings it in, easily headed away by Egan. And the Irishman's header goes over the halfway line where there's no Sheffield United player, so plenty of time for Kayembe to run round it and get on it and start Watford going from the back again. And he's just hit a relatively low trajectory ball pinged forward into the feet of Dennis. Dennis towards the edge of the box, finding Ken Sema. Sema on the right-hand side of the area, wants to check back, did get it in with his right foot in the end, cleared by Norwood, high spinning clearance, which is then brought down on the touchline by Dennis, and a neat little 1-2 with Cleverley in shoes. Cleverley has it. Cleverley's ball into João Pedro. Back towards Sema, and then he's just left his foot in, tried to win the ball. It's a genuine attempt, but he caught Ender Stevens, and it's a free kick won by the Irishman for Sheffield United. 30 minutes gone here on TalkSport 2. Watford 0, Sheffield United 0.
Yeah, it's just difficult, I think, for either side really to break through into the box. You know, it's well marshalled, well defended at the minute, and defenders getting little toes in and deflections. Things aren't quite going either side way once they get in and around the penalty box.
Possession marginally in Watford's favour, but only marginally. 53-47 at the moment. Just the one shot on target for either side, although Watford have had a fair few off target as well. The Blades just the one chance created so far, and 10 minutes in we were talking about who'd be the happier manager, and you said it would be Paul Heckingbottom. It might well not be now.
Well, I think, look, he'll know that he'll expect the home team to have a say in things, you know, as the half progresses, but I think he'll be pretty content so far. They've defended well, but I think what they do know is when the ball goes into the front men of Watford, you know, they're really dangerous, you know, quick. Dennis, João Pedro, once they get turned and they're looking for runners, you know, they're fast. They possess speed that Sheffield United don't have, and on the turnover they look pretty threatening, but so far they've just about got a little toe in. That one from Kieran Clark was vital. but when they get ahead of steam up, they do look like they're a threat, although they haven't quite fashioned anything really click up. Maybe the strike from Sema, they hit the side net. No, it wasn't from Sema, it was from Saar, they hit the side net. That was probably the best chance.
It's quite a warm, close evening here, so whilst Enda Stevens was just receiving a little bit of treatment, the players use it as an opportunity to just have a drink, get some fluid on board. Little handshake there between Norrington Davis and Dennis, who had collided with each other in a previous phase of play. It has been played largely in a good spirit. That little flashpoint about 5-6 minutes ago that saw Serralta and Fleck booked. Neither player backwards in coming forwards, and both have a little reputation for being happy to stand their ground when there's a skirmish. Here's Sander Berger, and he'll try and turn away from Kayembe, who's remained goal side, made the Norwegians' job difficult. He hasn't shaken him out of possession though, and Berger will play down towards the left for Norrington Davis to make his way forward here for Sheffield United. 0-0 with 11 to go to half time. Norrington Davis again with a little ball forward, took a nick off cleverly, and Dye had a very lively start via Nord to Sander Berger, again the spare man in the midfield for Sheffield United. He's worked it out towards the right. George Baldock fires it in. A near post header from Cathcart might have caused problems, but Kamara can get there ahead of Jebison in behind him at the far post, and it goes out for a throw which will be taken on the United left. Fleck's going to leave it for Stevens to take, but again Berger right in that space. Yeah, worked it really well. Do you know why it's free, Jim? Because if Sheffield United play the ball and they look to go into Ndai, unless Kayembe is there screening it, then Ndai's going to get it into feet. So Kayembe screens out, and who's the spare one then? Sander Berger. So they're caught between a sort of rock and a hard place. They've done it well, Sheffield United. Come back to that point in a moment, and Dye, a little 1-2. It didn't quite come back to him because Stevens played it. It wasn't meant for Enda Stevens, and had he got out of the way, Iliman and Dye might have been in. So just going back to that point that you're making about the space that Berger's getting, what do Watford do to stop it? Yeah, because you've got to do sort of a job and a half, really. Kemba has to do a job and a half. He has to half screen the pass into the front from Ndai, but also have an eye on Sander Berger, because if he just stops the pass into Ndai, then Sander Berger's free. So that is the challenge. Sheffield United have it from a throw. Good feet again by Ndai on the turn. He's looked really sharp so far. He has the ball down towards the corner flags, laid it back for Fleck. Fleck into a much more central position, but deeper for Norwood. And Norwood again goes more central, but deeper still for Egan. And Egan, under pressure, goes all the way back to his goalkeeper, Wes Fotheringham. Good play off the ball there. João Pedro defending well from the front for Watford. Fotheringham drives it forward, headed on well by Jebison, and Ndai is in. He's round the back of Kamara, but his shot lacked conviction and was comfortably saved. Ball punted forward, and the two young strikers worked very well in tandem there, but the shot not what it might have been. Oh no, should have done a lot better. Best chance of the game. A long ball up from Fotheringham, flicked on brilliantly by Ndai, and he's away. He shrugs off Kamara, and he doesn't really open his body out. It's a bit of a close finish straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. I think he should have done an awful lot better there, trying to bend that into the far corner. It was a simple strike really, and just didn't test the keeper enough. And welcome to listeners joining us on TalkSport with 10 minutes from half-time here in the opening game of Watford and Sheffield United's Championship season. It's 0-0 at Vicarage Road. It's been very entertaining and easy on the eye, although chances have been at a premium. David Connolly alongside me just describing that opportunity moments ago for Iliman Ndai, who's played very well leading the line for Sheffield United. That's the clearest chance that either side have had so far in what's been at times a cagey affair, but as I say, very easy on the eye. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, best chance of the game. We saw Saar have one for Watford, but certainly that was the best one for the Blades. Jebison with the flick on him. He's big, isn't he? Those two working in tandem, but should have done a lot better on the finish. If you want to continue to listen to this game, it is live for you over on TalkSport 2. If you've got the TalkSport app, you can seamlessly swipe between TalkSport and TalkSport 2 to keep abreast of the action. TalkSport 2, of course, your home of all of the EFL action exclusive to national radio. Watford have a free kick here. João Pedro has won it. That was cynical. We've seen 3 yellow cards already, but Josh Smith isn't going to reach for his book to produce a 4th yellow card, but this is a decent set-piece opportunity for the Hornets. It's going to take a little bit of time to set it up. The live action continues right now over on TalkSport 2, but with 8.5 minutes to go to half-time, and it's Watford 0, Sheffield United 0. And Sema stands over the free kick. Jefferson is the one man who's in the position of a wall, if one man can be a wall. 8 Sheffield United players stand in a line to defend on the edge of the penalty area. Sema fires it in, it's taken a flick that steers it away from Cathcart at the far post, and Berg is there. His clearance isn't the best, but again a slightly lively bounce made it difficult for Cleverley to bring under immediate control. Kayembe and Kamara able to mop up for Watford, and still without the ball going back into their own half, they can bring it forward again and work it from back to front via Sema out towards Dennis. Sarr's made his way through the middle. Kamara jogs out towards the right-hand touchline to offer a little bit of width for Watford. Cleverley knows that he's there, but has worked it back the other way instead. For Cabaselli inside the centre circle. Cabaselli to the ponytailed Sierralta. Now the Chilean playing it out towards Emmanuel Dennis. Dennis back for Kayembe at the heart of the Watford midfield. Down now towards Craig Cathcart. Cathcart will take a touch, bring it forward into Hassan Kamara. Kamara for Kayembe to Cleverley, the Watford captain, working it forward into the feet of Ismaila Sarr. Sarr back for Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro 15 yards outside the edge of the penalty area. Comes into a central position, then works it back out again towards Sarr. Sarr down towards Kamara. Kamara right-footed, got his cross in, but I don't think any of his teammates believed he was going to be able to, so nobody made a run towards the edge of the 6-yard box. And it was a cross that was difficult to get any purchase on anyway, and it's just bobbled through into the hands of United goalkeeper Wes Foderingham. 0-0.
Yeah, do you know what, Jim? There was not one Watford player in the box. Too many just supporting behind the ball, wanting to look good, get on it, but no one really a threat in the 18-yard box. Never mind the 6-yard box. Nobody there.
Foderingham clears his lines. Ball bounces in the centre circle, and then 3 players converge on that bouncing ball. Jefferson has emerged with it, and he's found Ndiaye. Ndiaye tries to flick it back towards Jefferson, but it went in behind him. And mopping up very comfortably was Kayembe. Now Cleverley looking for the long Hollywood ball over the top. He's got a throw out of it though, 50 yards upfield as Egan came across. A sense that perhaps they were going to be able to get Sarr in behind Norrington Davis, and he wasn't prepared to take any chances, so he heads it out of play. Throw taken by Dennis. Back for Cleverley. Cleverley to Kamara. No-look ball from him back for Cabaselli, who turns and plays it back for Backman. Backman's put under token gesture of pressure from Jefferson. He gets it forward long, and Ender Stevens just heads it straight out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Watford right-hand side. 5 to go to half-time at 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Rob Edwards, just having a little word with Joao Pedro. Feels he could have had the ball. He's got it now.
He'll take a touch, but he can't take the ball past Egan. And the Sheffield United captain defending very well. Stevenson wins the throw, playing it into Joao Pedro. And it's a Blades ball.
Well, they're very fluid, this Watford front line. That's what I would say. You know, at times fluid, at times you would say disorganised, because you don't know where they're playing. I look at Sheffield United and I see their pitch positions, and they're pretty well fixed, and they look really well drilled and organised. You know, Norwood at the base, Flick on the left, Bergen right, Baldock out wide. There's a structure in how they're trying to get the ball forward. At times for Watford, I wouldn't say it's off the cuff, but maybe a little bit more fluid, I guess, more licence to roam for that front part of the pitch. But it also means at times it's often aren't really players in positions when some Watford teammates get the ball, and they often go backwards.
Yeah, essentially it is the 3-4-1-2 formation that Rob Edwards favoured at Forest Green. Joao Pedro is the one, and he's got Sarr and Dennis here, there and everywhere, really.
Yeah, at times, yeah. It's sometimes you don't know who to pass to because the pitch positions aren't really fixed. They're very fluid.
Kamara taking a throw on the Watford right, and he's played the ball into the chest of Ismaila Sarr. Sarr for Dennis, all at close quarters. Kayembe out towards Ken Sema. Sema gets to the left-hand side of the penalty area, fires it in, and it's a decent save. Joao Pedro with a flick header, just not quite direct enough, just a little bit too much loop, and that meant that Foderingham had that extra half second that he needed to be able to dive away to his left-hand side and catch it. 0-0. Yeah,
good ball in though, was it, from Sema again, who looks like their best route to goal, really. He's quick, goes down the outside, nice cross, cut back to around the penalty box. It's a long way out, isn't it, for a header to try and aim it into the far corner, and I think Foderingham saw it all the way.
He clears from the edge of his own penalty area. It's flicked on well.
Yeah, he's won nearly every flick on, hasn't he, Jefferson? Done very, very well when the ball's in the air. Out jumps Seriota too often for me.
So he's got the nod tonight ahead of Billy Sharp and Ryan Brewster. Sharp has only had a week back in training. Brewster was out at the end of last season but has been fully fit for longer. But Jefferson, the man starting the season up front in possession of the shirt. He's 19 years of age, a player born in Canada but an England under-19 international. He has scored a winning goal in the Premier League in his career, and an away win for the Blades at Everton. But that remains his only goal for the club to date. But he's a handful. He's one of those strikers that you're not going to be able to merely judge on the numbers. It's what he brings in, and that partnership with Ndai certainly, while still raw, looks as though he's got plenty of promise.
Well, when you said he's got the nod, him always have won. Yeah, he's definitely got the nod.
Yeah, he's got the nod at all angles. Sarr chasing in vain. Ultimately, as the ball goes straight into the hoardings in front of the Sheffield United supporters away to our right. 0-0.
Happened a lot, that. Yeah. You know, longer passes, bounce, skidded off the turf. Maybe, you know, the pass accuracy, completion isn't quite there yet. First game of the season. Been a few sort of misplaced, wasted ones, that's for sure, from both teams. There's another one.
Yeah, it was Norwood that time, looking to play in Berger, who was maybe just slightly on his heels. And goes out of play for a throw, which Watford have taken. We've got 90 seconds to go to half-time. Had that little skirmish and then the treatment for Ender Stevens. So 1 or 2 minutes to be added on, no more than that. The ball's out, Watford making slow progress up the left flank. Still in a position where they will hope to be able to record that elusive first home win since November. But they have won the opening game in each of the last 2 seasons, including the last campaign, first game back in the top flight, where they beat Aston Villa very handily here. It wasn't the taste of things to come for them. Cleverly bringing the ball down, former Villa man. Lovely skill from Cabaselli. Just dropped his shoulder, brings it out of defence very neatly into the feet of Dennis. Norwood had tracked his run back from a number 9 position into the centre of midfield. Dennis worked forward by Cleverly, not to good effect, but Norrington Davis's control isn't particularly good and goes out of play for a throw. Dennis has taken it quickly. Sarr back for Dennis again. The two strikers both within 3 yards of each other on the right-hand touchline, so when Dennis looked up to try and play it inside the area, there was no one there, and that's been a recurring theme for Watford as well. Sarr's got it to Dennis. Couldn't supply him with the return ball. Norrington Davis's clearance lacked the distance that he wanted. Jefferson has come back and again has used his physical prowess to get the better of Cleverly. And now playing Sander Berger, and Baldock's making a good run to his right, and he's going to be able to bring it forward, the right wing back, making his way towards the edge of the area. Jefferson with a right-footed effort, tipped over the bar. The best move of the game. Sheffield United, just as we go into stoppage time at the end of the first half, breaking forward so quickly. Jefferson heavily involved, and then the right-footed effort well tipped over the bar by Backman.
Yeah, started and finished the move here. I mean, you've got to say Dennis a bit loose in possession in around the Blades box, and then they counter. Berg out the ball. Nice little ball rolled across the box, and I think it was a comfortable tip over the bar, wasn't it? But I tell you what, Jefferson's done really well. Very impressed with his performance. Won the bouncing ball, showed real desire with the flick on, and then worked really hard to get in the box to get that strike.
So we're into 2 added minutes, and Sheffield United have their first corner. Egan standing by the penalty spot. Clark is there. Sander Berger, bigger than the pair of them, also there between them. Opportunity potentially as well for Baldock on the edge of the area, who's completely unmarked. Watford have got everybody back inside the penalty area.
Well, Jim, again, I said it earlier, but last season they scored. I saw one at Kyan Prince, really clever routine.
Left-footed ball is swung in here towards Clark, but there was some pushing and shoving going on before the ball got to him, and it's a free kick to Watford.
Yeah, every time I've said that, though, they just put the ball in the mix.
Well, varieties to spice it right. Yeah. Baldock was the man in the position for that little old 1990s England near post corner out towards Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah, it's like they're going to do it, but they haven't quite chanced their arm yet. Maybe it's because they worry about, if it goes wrong, the threat that Watford have up top. So maybe they're just being a bit more pragmatic today.
No, it's interesting though, that first Blades corner that Watford had everybody back. They didn't leave anybody forward at all. Maybe because of the fact that it was so close to half-time. Cleverly. His ball forward is returned with a little bit of interest. And another chance for Ndai, who's got past Cleverly, who's brought him down. And the referee thought about reaching for the yellow card. He's just given himself a little bit of thinking time. And yes, Tom Cleverly is booked. And the referee actually pointed to a couple of other areas, part of the pitch, so it's a yellow card for persistent infringement.
Yeah, sharp feet though again from Ndai. He's been really, really good. You just knew as soon as he faced up Tom Cleverly, you know, that ability to jink and shift so quickly, he's going to unbalance him, and he's been sharp. The front two for Sheffield United have been pretty good, especially when the ball's at their feet.
Well, we've had the 2 minutes of stoppage time. This is the last attack of the first half. It's a free kick delivered in, a looping header onto the roof of the net from Egan, and that will be that. They'll turn around at 0-0. No goals, not too much in the way of constructive goal-mouth opportunity, but highly intriguing, very entertaining, and a good watch. 45 minutes in to these two side seasons, and they both still wait for their first goal. Watford 0, Sheffield United 0. Dan? I bought a jumper with me tonight. Not because I necessarily thought I was going to get cold, but I didn't know how much abuse the shirt was going to get and whether I needed to cover it up at any stage. I'm still styling it out for now, but it was made by a deck chair at Sandbanks. That's all I'm saying about it. No changes yet. What is going to be interesting, we're talking about the substitutions that might happen. The fact that it is now 5 from 7 this season.
That's right.
In the Championship, you would imagine that nearly every attacking option on the bench is going to be utilised.
Yeah, well, I had a little look at that, Jim, at the weekend. I mean, Norwich losing made 5 subs, QPR losing made 5 subs. So some teams did, you know, and some teams didn't. So I think when you've got Billy Sharp and the lights on the bench for Sheffield United, we'll certainly see them at some point.
So we're back underway. I'll run through the two teams for you in a moment. Watford yellow shirts, black shorts. And Sheffield United in their traditional colours as well, red and white striped shirts and black shorts. First coming together, a hefty one in the midfield. Berger involved for Sheffield United, and then Cathcart claiming that he was fouled by Ndai. Semmer has done really well to come back and rob Iliman Ndai of possession and then bustle his way forward, and he ends up getting a free kick. Ndai thought that he was being pulled back, but there's again a very good-natured handshake between the two protagonists there as the free kick is given Watford's way. Watford have Backman in goal. They've got Cabaselli, Siralta and Cathcart as the 3 centre-halves. Then Kamara, Kayembe, Cleverly and Semmer, with Joao Pedro operating as a number 10. In behind Sarr and Dennis, who's in possession here, left-hand side of the penalty area, but he can't wriggle his way past John Egan, and the ball is cleared by Baldock. Baldock playing at right wing-back for Sheffield United with Stevens on the left. Norrington Davis, Egan and Clark, the 3 centre-halves from left to right. Berger, Norwood and Fleck in midfield. And the impressive front two, Jebison and Ndai, as the ball is swung inside the Sheffield United penalty area and volleyed away for a throw that'll be taken over on the Watford right-hand side and taken quickly. Tom Cleverly played round the corner, going for the return ball. It's just looped off him. It'll bounce down right on the dead ball line and headed away past Kamara by Norrington Davis for a throw that'll be taken over on that Watford right-hand side. It's 0-0, with a couple of minutes gone in the second half here at Vicarage Road. Tom Cleverly's ball inside the penalty area is swept away by John Egan. It bounces in each half of the centre circle before Cathcart just sweeps up and goes back to his goalkeeper, Daniel Backman. Alongside me, Jim Bradford, the former Republic of Ireland international, David Connolly.
Yeah, I mean, they've settled down pretty well here, Watford, since they've come out. You know, certainly Sheffield United started the first half well, but Watford have come out, moved it really, really quickly, nice and sharp. You know, there's a bit more of an urgency about them. Let's look at the messages here that are coming on from Paul Heckingbottom.
Got a flame head, vastly experienced coach Stuart McCall standing with arms folded across his chest, just 3 or 4 paces to his left-hand side, and both trying to get the message across. Watford have got a player down over on the far side, that's Joao Pedro, who ended up on the deck, but no foul given. It will be now, as Joao Pedro is being the guilty party this time.
Well, I think Stevens might have had a little raised arm on Joao Pedro, and that's what the fans over that side weren't happy about. Nothing was given, and then when it came back to Stevens, Joao Pedro got his retribution, and Well, he's been called over here.
And has been carded.
Yeah. I certainly think Stevens had a little bit of a high elbow, certainly a high arm on him. He just sort of palmed him off, and let's just see this again. Yeah, maybe, well, could have been soft if it was given in second viewing.
Joao Pedro took exception to it. He was back on his feet very quickly and swept the legs of Stevens away. So Joao Pedro in the book, along with Sierralta and Cleverley, and Clark and Fleck of Sheffield United. 5 yellow cards shown so far in the 4th minute of the second half here on TalkSport 2 at 0-0. Free kick is driven forward by Norrington Davis over the head of Ender Stevens. Returned by the Watford back line, and Dye tried to help it on. Fleck tried to guide it back and didn't get the power that he needed. And then another clumsy challenge comes in, and that could well be a yellow card as well. It was John Egan who did everything within his power, by fair means or foul, to stop the Watford player getting past him. And temper's beginning to just simmer nicely here in Hertfordshire. That was another poor challenge. That was a cynical one. They knew the danger. Fleck's poor defensive header saw Joao Pedro's eyes light up, and there was no chance he was going to get past John Egan, who just
wagged his finger
after sticking his body in the way. But that's a blatant free kick.
Well, the fans aren't happy. Obviously they feel there should be a little bit more than that. Just a free kick. I mean, but again, that's symptomatic of how they've started here, Watford. Really sharp the second half.
Cleverly swinging the free kick in. Good header away. Reece Norrington Davis with it, and then Fleck tries to bring it further clear. Hasn't had the influence that perhaps he would have liked tonight. Ken Sema has brought him down. At least that's how the referee saw it. There was another physical battle between the pair. The Scotsman ending up on the deck. Sema passed him, but just before he was able to wrap his left foot around it, the referee blew his whistle, and it's a free kick to Sheffield United.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if Sema's trying to replicate Cadden, he's doing a pretty good job of it. He's been a real threat down this left-hand side, raiding up and down like the Forest Green refereeing back used to do. Certainly for Rob Edwards.
Did have a couple of high-profile friendlies, Watford. It's Panathinaikos and Southampton, and they both ended up 0-0, interestingly. This one also goalless 5 minutes into the second half, in an encounter that hasn't really seen too many chances at either end. Shots on target certainly the premium. Baldock trying to spear the ball forward through the midfield, but Sierralta was there first, and he's done well actually off balance and under pressure to be able to work the ball down towards Joao Pedro. And he'll take a touch and come back inside, and then will venture forward, turning Baldock and playing in Ken Sema, left-hand side of the area. Sema, former Norrköping player, driving it in off Baldock, and out of play for another Watford corner.
Yeah, you can just see Rob Edwards just encouraging Joao Pedro as the ball breaks. Go on, take your man on, take him on, because he knows they're so quick. On balance, Sheffield United defender, he'll get a foul, a free kick, a booking possibly, and it seems like that's what the crowd want, that's what they're hoping for. Maybe a red card for the Sheffield United player down to 10, that would certainly help them.
Sema just doing a little bit of gardening down by the corner quadrant and making sure that the ball has a decent lie ahead of this delivery. It's going to be an outswinger from the Watford left in towards the near post. It was awkward for Baldock, who was able to volley it away, contorting his body in the process. Ball ended up with Sema, and then Cleverly trying to win a throw, has succeeded. It's a throw that he's taken quickly as well, chucking it at Joao Pedro. Not a foul throw though. Baldock able to bring it away. One back in the blink of an eye by Ismail Assar. Cathcart spreading the direction of play, working it out towards the Watford right for Cabaselli. High diagonal from him, and that's headed away by Baldock out of play for a throw. Watford have taken that quickly as well. Good tempo about the Hornets attacking play at the beginning of the second half. Sema back for Cleverly. It's 0-0. Cleverly with the disguised ball down the left-hand side of the penalty area. Good movement came from Joao Pedro, and he's golden boots to try and come and meet it, and then Berg is going to be able to knock it away. He's played it into the feet of Iliman and Dye, chipped over the top. All good bounce for Sierralta, but he had defensive cover in the form of Cabaselli. Cabaselli's first touch, though, was seized upon by Jebison, and Jebison's won it back for Sheffield United in Watford territory. They can't work it forward towards Fleck, but Sierralta clears his lines, and Sheffield United have a throw level with the edge of the Watford box.
Yeah, that's probably the best they could hope for there. Sierralta with the header back to Cabaselli, didn't really know where Jebison was, and he's done that really well, worked hard for his team, made something out of nothing. If a ball looks like it's not in his favour, it doesn't matter. He keeps going. You get that with youth, don't you? You know, they just keep going, keep trying, keep working hard. Something might break. He's done well for his team today.
Yeah, they've got plenty of industry, there's no doubt about that. And they've got Billy Sharp and Ryan Brewster in terms of strikers to come, but I wonder how long it's going to be before we see Reda Kadra, the German on loan from Brighton, who had a loan spell at Blackburn last season, where with the ball, Tony Mowbray loved him. Without the ball, well, maybe a little less so, judging by some of the comments that he's made. But
big boots to fill, isn't it?
Blackburn.
Kadrick, well, coming in here for Sheffield United, you know, for a Gibbs White, for example, you know, I mean, he did so well.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's going to be almost impossible to replace Gibbs White. I like Kadra, but tough task.
Yeah, Gibbs White back to Wolves after his loan spell that brought him a dozen goals in the red, white and black last season. You're not missing anything, incidentally, because Ender Stevens has gone down and is just receiving a little bit of treatment over on the far side. Is he going to be able to continue? They've got a few options if he can't. They've signed a defender, Ahmed Odzic, the Bosnian international, Swedish-born player from Malmö. But he's suspended tonight, so it's the reason that he hasn't made his debut. Well, he's a good player with plenty of Champions League experience, and one that they will be able to call upon in future weeks, but not tonight. So the change that they are having to make here will see Lowe come on for Stevens in the left wing-back position. So Max Lowe on. His last Sheffield United appearance back in January of last year. He came on as a substitute in Forest's victorious playoff final last season, and a good loan spell in the East Midlands, back at his parent club now. Sheffield United with their first corner of this second half. Taken short, Fleck, after the ball was really well defended by the referee, of which more in a moment, and Watford can break. And they'll break forward quickly. There was a little shove off the ball. Watford still have it. And then Egan's pulled his man off the ball again. But it doesn't matter because João Pedro is there to side-foot the ball in and give Watford a 1-0 lead. They're off and running under Rob Edwards. But it's a controversial goal because it came from a Sheffield United corner that was worked short to the edge of the area for Fleck, and the referee didn't read it and got in his way. Watford broke quickly. João Pedro making his way forward, and the quality of delivery was such that he couldn't miss. He side-puts the ball in to give Watford a 1-0 lead, and is their first home win since the manager before last going to come tonight.
Well, it's a brilliant break, but Jim, we go back to the first half. Every time Sheffield United got a corner, I said about their invention, how they like to try things. They never tried anything. They've tried their first corner in the second half. The referee has got in the way. Fleck has miscued it though, so I don't really feel you can put it out the referee's door, but nonetheless, they're having a look at this for some reason. But it's a great break and put on a plate, as you say, for João Pedro. They're so quick. They got pace that other teams don't really have. Certainly Sheffield United don't have. Lightning quick, superb cross into the area from Ismaili Sarr, and João Pedro got a simple task to sweep it home.
Oh, Paul Heckingbottom's furious. He is livid. And he's going to get a yellow card as well for dissent. Now the fourth official, Gavin Ward, is down there, and he's been getting it from all sides. Stuart McCall and Paul Heckingbottom as well. You can certainly see the point that he's making.
Yeah, because look, as we were saying, I saw these set pieces they tried lasting so often. You knew they were going to try it at some point. Didn't try it first up. Okay, tried it, started the second. But the referee, what you would say is, could he be on the point of the box? He was almost middle of the box, on the edge, in the way of Fleck, and that position, it probably did put him off. But nonetheless, I think he could have had a cleaner contact. I'm not too sure you can totally say that's a referee's fault, but...
Well, João Pedro has scored one, And now his tail is up and he's making his way forward, left-hand side of the penalty area, chipping it in towards the far post. It was a crucial defensive touch. Still came for Kamara, but he's volleyed it over the bar. 1-0 Watford lead on TalkSport to João Pedro.
Even that goal, Jim, once they break, it's a kind of comedy of errors really for Sheffield United, because some of the passing from Watford, when they did counter, it wasn't in front of their teammates, and actually two Sheffield United players could have cleared it and went straight through their legs, and they kind of made a mess of it, to be honest. Could have been defending a lot better. When he watches the tape back, he'll be furious about the referee's position, but he'll also be furious at his own team. They should have defended that counter a lot better.
Well, João Pedro scored in the last home game of last season. That not a good day as far as Watford are concerned. It was a home humbling by Leicester, but it's their first home win of 2022, which is long overdue. Now just over half an hour away. As things stand, that is exactly the situation. Sema taking a throw down the Watford left, and it's clear. Brought under control by Kayembe. Sema, Kayembe, cleverly. Then Cathcart switching the play out towards Kabasele. Watford fans in fine voice now, with a little bit of belief, a little bit of a shove maybe on Dennis, who's knocked away. Norwood to Fleck. Fleck turning it forward through the midfield. Jefferson trying to hold it up. Berger slipping in and die, and they're sprinting forward here. They've got Jefferson in the middle. That was a something or nothing pass to try and find it. Really disappointing delivery, which came in from low, and he overhit it. He split the two centre forwards, and that was a promising opportunity for Sheffield United on the counter-attack, but very quickly fizzled out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if that was Stevens with his left foot, probably be put on the plate for Jefferson. As it is, the sub low, maybe his first touch. On the run, poor ball into the box. You've got to say, they started the second half really well. Watford came out the traps and they got the goal. Maybe Rob had a little word with him at half-time. The tempo, every time the ball went out of play, you were saying it, they picked the ball up, taking it early. That was the tempo they set.
Little shove on Sema by Baldock. That goes unpunished. It's a throw to Sheffield United, who haven't got a good record here. There haven't been a huge number of games here at Vicarage Road between the two over recent years, but the Blades haven't won any of the last 5 meetings. It was 0-0 when they last played each other in the Premier League. Here's Fleck from distance, and that's taking the deflection. Will go out of play for a Sheffield United corner. And just to give a little bit of encouragement to the travelling Yorkshiremen away to our right-hand side. 1-0 to Watford. We played an hour. And João Pedro, who scored 4 goals last season, who's already broken his duck for this, opening his account with that goal on 56 minutes here on TalkSport 2.
Let's see the referee's position now. There's a corner, this time from the other side, and he's on the opposite side of the box, which is where he should have been when the ball was on the other side. A little bit too late, I guess, if you're a Sheffield United supporter.
Not going to get in Fleck's way this time, because Fleck takes the corner, and it's headed away at the near post easily by Ismail Assar. Baldock turning it back to the left-hand side, where Lowe drives it forward. He's overhit that one as he did his last one over the head of Fleck, and it goes out of play for a goal kick that Daniel Bachmann will take. Bachmann didn't keep a clean sheet for Watford last season, but if he can keep his first of this season tonight, then Watford have got a victory to get the Rob Edwards era very effectively off and running. 61 minutes gone here on TalkSport 2, with Watford leading Sheffield United by a goal to nil. A reminder that breakfast tomorrow over on TalkSport sees Alan Brazil, Ali McCoist and Stuart Pearce be joined by, amongst others, Gabby Logan and Bobby Zamora between 6 and 10 tomorrow on TalkSport. And also a reminder that the Premier League returns this Friday. We've got the first 2 games of the Premier League season live and exclusive to TalkSport. Palace against Arsenal Friday at 8. Fulham against Liverpool 12:30 Saturday lunchtime. We've also got Spurs against Southampton at 3 o'clock here on TalkSport 2 this coming Saturday, and more championship action as well. Saturday lunchtime, Norwich, the pre-season favourites for the division, host Wigan at Carrow Road, and that's a 12:30 kickoff. TalkSport 2, and your home of the EFL. Here and now, 62 on the clock. Watford 1, Sheffield United 0. Ken Sema in possession. Plays it forward down the left-hand side. Slight awkward control from Joao Pedro. Did well not to flinch when the ball came off his foot straight into his chin, but he's worked it well down towards Sema, and he'll take it on down towards the corner flag, a yard in from the touchline. Joao Pedro's behind him, and now receives the ball. The Watford goal scorer, laying it back behind square, past Kayembe to Cleverley, driving it, right-footed, switched out towards the right-hand touchline where Kamara has controlled it. He plays it into the feet of Ismaila Sarr. Sarr level the edge of the penalty area. Cleverley is waiting in space, but the ball goes out towards Sarr. Now Cleverley's got it and linking up the play. And it's all good football from very close quarters over on the Watford right. Cleverley back towards Kamara. Kamara going to ground, but no foul. Much to the fury of the Watford fans who had a very good view of it. It's out of play for a goal kick that Fotheringham will take for Sheffield United. They've made one change because of the injury to Ender Stevens. Max Lowe coming on to replace him. I don't think further changes are going to be too far away.
No, I think you're right. I mean, just looking at Paul down there, Hicken bottom with his staff, Jack Lester, probably turned into his bench now, I imagine. The striker, certainly Billy Sharp, you'd have thought. Obvious one.
Sharp, the man who remains the most prolific player in English football in the 21st century. Just some record. Even if it might end up getting beaten, it's still a good one to say that you've held for as long as he's held it. Here's Kamara playing it back for Serralta, and he's not done yet, Billy Sharp. He's on 264, incidentally, in the 21st century.
Well, unless he's dyed his hair, he's not coming on.
No, not first. It's going to be Khadra. And he has pace, and he has that little bit of mystique about him as well. Will he be able to make an instant impact as a Sheffield United player? Man on loan from Brighton. Still only young. It'll be interesting to see who comes off. Here's Ken Sema for Watford. 19 minutes into the second half. Joao Pedro with the goal. He's set up Dennis here. Dennis taking it on, and then just allowed Kieran Clark the opportunity to nick it off his toes. It's the second potentially goal-saving challenge that Clark has made in this game, one in each half. Did Dennis need to take the extra touch?
Well, I think he's superb skill. I mean, Joao Pedro fed the ball into on the edge of the box. He faked a shoot, lifted it over the Sheffield United defender. But I think actually Joao Pedro just got in his way here. He's about to pull the trigger, and yeah, you're right, Jim, maybe he did take one touch too many.
Clark was the beneficiary of that, and he was able to knock it away. And it's gone out for a throw that will be taken over on the far touchline. Now that's the Watford right-hand side. Taken by Kamara. And very well dealt with by Joao Pedro. Confidence burgeoning after that goal. Good piece of skill by Dennis, right-hand side of the box. He tries to pull it back. Well defended. The ball ricochets over the line of John Egan and goes out of play for a corner to Watford, who lead by that Joao Pedro goal to 0.
Yeah, a few more spaces now, isn't there? You know, the game's a bit more stretched open. Sheffield United got to come out a little bit. Spaces down the sides, and you know, Joao Pedro, his tail is up. Dennis, you know, they look just a bit sharper, more confident now they've got that goal. They're a goal up.
Atmosphere builds again as the ball is swung in by Sema and easily volleyed away at the near post, and that was a very routine clearance. A disappointing set-piece delivery, and there have been a few of those from both sides. Goes out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Watford right, but they're much nearer halfway than the dead ball line. It's going to be Khadra and Brewster as a double change. Just to reiterate the substitution rules, I'm sure you're familiar with them, but it is now 5 from 7 in the EFL, but you can only make those 5 changes at 3 different junctures in playing time. So Sheffield United made 1 because of the injury, so it's 2 doubles really if they want to make all 5 changes, or a triple at some stage. And in fact it might be a triple this time, because looking down at the bench, it looks as though Osborne's going to be coming on as well. So a triple change imminent for Sheffield United as they try and get themselves back into this game, but they trail 1-0. Here's Berger in the midfield, just shy of the midway stage of this second half. Ball play forward out towards the Blades left. Lowe trying to make something happen as he won a corner. No, he's just been crowded out of it, and it's a goal kick that'll be taken by Daniel Backman for Watford. 67 gone, 1-0.
Yeah, I think Lowe's really struggled. Max Lowe struggled to get to the pace of the game. He's had a lot of ball out on that left and hasn't really done most with it. Put in a good position there from Sander Berger and just out-muscled, run the ball off the pitch, and they've just lost an awful lot in an attacking sense since Ender Stevens has gone off.
Well, Jebison is the first player to come off. Kieran Clark is coming off as well, which is an interesting one.
Imagine that might be a change of shape, could be a flat back four.
Or is it Baldock to the right of three centre-halves and Kadra on, or is Baldock at right back? We'll find out very shortly. And Norwood is coming off as well. So that's Clark, Norwood and Jebison off. Brewster, Kadra and Osborne are the players that have come on. So Baldock on the right at three centre-halves and Osborne at right wing-back. With Berger dropping into the midfield into Norwood's position. So it is very much all change. Brewster is up front along with Kadra, and Dye is playing in midfield now. Baldock with a header and got enough on it to get it back to Fotheringham. So that really is throw it all up in the air and see how it comes down and start again.
They're kind of setting up like Watford are, really, in terms of the front two. Sort of in Dye's playing João Pedro's sort of role as a number 10.
Kadra taking it on. Very difficult to muscle off the ball. Cavaselli forced him backwards but couldn't get the ball back. Kadra's got the opportunity to make himself a firm favourite amongst Sheffield United supporters this season. Player who hasn't seen the light of day at Brighton, but boy is their scouting system good. Brighton, they pick up so many talented off-radar players that make a name for themselves elsewhere out on loan, and Kadra is the latest of those. Balls with Cleverley playing it through the midfield out towards Kamara back, all the way back to his goalkeeper Daniel Backman in slate grey, and he's in no hurry, as you would imagine, with Watford 20 minutes away from victory. Drives it forward, headed away at the heart of the defence by John Egan, brought down by Berger. To his left is Fleck. Fleck will control the ball inside the centre circle and he can turn and now play the way that he's facing. He'll work it forward towards Norrington Davis, out towards the left wing back Lowe. Kadra with his bleached hair making his way forward, goes out towards Norrington Davis, back for Kadra again, who lays it back for Fleck to Berger flicking away from João Pedro. Now making his way forward down the right hand side is Osborne. First chance for him from wing back, a small blonde haired midfielder into the much taller Sander Berger. Worked into the air for Ndai, whose control is impeccable again. Fleck though has it taken off his toes by Dennis. Dennis turns and spins and gets the return ball and now will drive forward. Osborne has tracked from right wing back, almost a left back, in a bid to try and wrestle possession off Dennis. He's failed, but he has held up the counter-attack, taking the momentum out of it, but nobody is replaced him in that right wing back position, so there's a man over on the Watford left hand side. They played it into that area now. Sarr down towards Sema a couple of yards from the left-hand side of the penalty area, and that's a very ambitious effort from Sarr on the turn that couldn't get the ball to do enough, and it's started very wide and ended up just going wide. Yeah, it didn't quite curl back in. I mean, there's something happened in the crowd. I don't know what has gone on, but you can hear the fans. There's a bit of distress in this right-hand corner. I know we'll focus on the football, but there's something. I think they're appealing for the game to be stopped. Yeah, I don't know whether it's a medical emergency, and there's Sheffield United supporters and Watford supporters are trying to get onto the pitch to get the game stopped so that there can be medical treatment given out, I think, in the crowd. I don't think it's crowd trouble. There's a lot of anger and not a lot of quick thinking going on, unfortunately, from the stewards. Now the game stops. Well, coaching staff, both managers were trying to get the fourth official, Gavin Ward, to get a message across to stop the game. It has now stopped, and order is being slowly brought back amongst the supporters. There are 2 supporters down there over on the right-hand side who are being ejected. All they were doing, and I know it is breaking the law, going onto the field of play, they were trying to get the attention of people so that the medical staff would go and attend that emergency. That hasn't been a particularly impressive reaction, unfortunately, away to our right-hand side. Of course, what is most important is that the stricken supporter, we can't see that stricken supporter is receiving the treatment that is necessary. Play is still stopped. There are fans waving in one corner of the away end, still trying to attract the attention of medical staff, and the police are looking on. Maybe they think that it's not a serious problem. I hope that is the case, that it isn't. But still, there's a lot of anger down there amongst the Sheffield United supporters, and the Watford fans who've got a good view of it as well are doing everything they can to hurry up the medical staff.
They're very distressed, these Sheffield United fans. There is some sort of emergency happening right at the top of the away stand. You can see all the stewards up there, but they're obviously motioning. I think do they want the physio, or do they want medical attention? Maybe Sheffield United got someone they could send up there. I think that's what one of the stewards has come over to the Sheffield United bench for. Well, maybe the club doctor.
Whatever the problem is, the game is going to get back underway. And the boos and whistles that you can hear are as a result of the referee ordering that the play restarts.
There's some paramedics now going up by the looks of it. But
and again, not in any great hurry. I hope that means that it's not a significant problem, the lack of haste of those making their way up away to our right-hand side. Anyway, let's concentrate on the action and keep everything crossed that if there is a stricken supporter in the away end, that they are going to be okay. Cathcart back to Serralta. Serralta will play the ball forward in towards João Pedro. And João Pedro on halfway. The man whose goal separates these two sides just lays it back to his goalkeeper, and it'll be played out towards Cabaselli now. Right footed ball forward from him. It's knocked away by Lowe. Down towards João Pedro. João Pedro back for Cleverley. Cleverley turning it forward through the midfield. Couldn't find his man. Been a few misplaced passes from the Watford skipper tonight. Kayembe then is quick on the scene, but Egan can get it back to the Sheffield United back line. And then Fotheringham will play it out towards the left, and the Blades can bring it forward with Norrington Davis. Back for Egan, but still Sheffield United inside their own half. Berger down to his right hand side. Baldock playing it forward. Split the difference between Osborne and Brewster, his targets, and it's put out of play by Cathcart, and out for a throw that'll be taken on the Blades' right-hand side. Ryan Brewster, who injured his hamstring in January, he hasn't played since then, just 4 goals last season for Sheffield United. Hoping to have a good start to this campaign, as all strikers do. He's looked very lively there, Brewster, as he puts the pressure on Craig Cathcart. And listeners on TalkSport joining us with Watford leading now by a goal to nil. Controversial goal scored by João Pedro some 20 minutes ago. Watford on the front foot here with Ken Sema. Sema towards the edge of the penalty area, can lay it back. Cleverley doesn't let fly from about 30 yards. He's played it to the Hornets' right. An opportunity for Sarr to try and deliver. And he'll chip it in deep towards the far post. It beats a couple of Watford players. They'll be able to recycle it and get going again. The goal that was scored by João Pedro, a controversial one, because Sheffield United had a corner which they felt the referee impeded John Fleck's progress towards the ball on the edge of the penalty area. From that corner, Watford got possession as a result of Fleck not getting a run at it, and Watford scored from that counter-attack with João Pedro. David Connolly's alongside me, commentating with us on TalkSport 2. 1-0 to Watford with 13 minutes to go.
Yeah, they've been a lot better second half, Jim. I mean, first half they were a little bit flat. the tempo just went up markedly at the start of this second half, and they got their goal. A little bit controversial, as you say, from the corner. First time they tried something different. Sheffield United went wrong. Referee possibly was in the way, but nonetheless they could have defended it better. Swept home really well by João Pedro, put on a plate by Sarr, and they've been a lot better in this second 45, Watford, so far.
Sheffield United have rung the changes. They've lost Ender Stevens to injury, and as a result have lost a little bit of attacking threat down the left-hand side. But they've made another 3 changes after that, including a debut for Khadra, who's looked lively in the 7-8 minutes or so that he's been on. But there are 12 minutes to go. The game continues live on TalkSport 2 with Watford leading Sheffield United by a goal to nil, and not too far away now from that first home win of 2022. And the final blades change will now be made. And Dye coming off, Sharp coming on. 2 players at opposite ends of their career, and Dye certainly put it in. He's coming off looking exhausted, but he's done well.
Yeah, he has. He put a real shift in. I thought it was excellent. You know, whenever the ball came into his feet, he got hold of it. He was a threat to the back line, worked ever so hard. You know, he can be pleased with the performance. Him and Jefferson, I thought they both did really well.
So on comes Sharp. He was, I mentioned, the most prolific footballer in England in the 21st century, with 264 goals to his name, nearly half of which have come for his hometown club. Osborne played on the right hand side for Sander Berge, and that's a Sheffield United corner. Rob Edwards might learn a thing or two about his new charges over the next 10 minutes or so, and their ability to be able to defend and withstand pressure, because the Blades are going to try and throw everything at them in a bid to get an equaliser here. Corner that will be taken on the Sheffield United right. John Fleck spotting the ball down. 3 Blades players inside the 6-yard box. 3 more on the edge of the penalty area. Every Watford player back again. Left-footed, swung in very deep. Berger having his shirt pulled there, got a head to it. He will then try and get in past the Watford player, but the challenge clean, able to get it away. Back from Baldock, headed on down that left-hand side, and straight out for a throw that will be taken on the Watford right. 11 to go, and it's still 1-0. So Berger certainly having his shirt pulled there.
He did, yeah. He's a big boy, isn't he? You know, real physical presence. Was he 6'3", probably, something like that? Got his head on it, and his shirt was being tugged.
5 changes for Sheffield United. We haven't seen any of the 5 for Watford so far, but the first of those is imminent. Ray Manai, the Albanian international, former Inter and Barcelona player, is about to come on. Berger winning the ball in the midfield for Sheffield United. Turn forward by Fleck, cleared down the right by Cabaselli, chested down again on the Sheffield United box. But cleverly he's there to knock it away from Brewster and find halfway. But the Blades with the majority of possession now as the game slowly winds towards its conclusion. Into the final 10 minutes here on TalkSport 2. Watford leading by a goal to nil. Osborne unlucky that having almost got the better of Dennis, he couldn't quite take it on, and it goes out of play for a Watford throw. The change will be made. Manai coming on, and he will replace Ismail Assar.
Yeah, had a hand in the goal. You know, I thought he put the cross in really well. Had to come in early for João Pedro, and it did. It just enabled João Pedro to finish quickly. So when you needed that little bit of quality, which wasn't it really in the penalty box in the first half for Watford, it certainly was in the second in that moment, and gets a good reception from the fans. And certainly they've got more pace, more athleticism. You know, they look like they've got a bit of X factor about them, Watford, when it goes into the front, and you know, a few little things I think they could iron out and improve upon, but the front part of the pitch has got something special, that's for sure.
Khadra trying to take on 3, and he's beaten them all for Sheffield United. He then ultimately got tackled by Brewster, his teammate, and that enabled Watford the chance to get it away. Well, Manai, perhaps a player that isn't as well known to EFL devotees. He scored 5 goals in Serie A last season when he was playing for Spezia. He signed from Barcelona. He didn't make a first-team appearance for Barca. He'd been at Inter's academy, working under Roberto Mancini. Didn't make a first-team appearance for them either. The most prolific spell of his career was in the Spanish third flight for Barcelona's B team, but he's got more than 30 international caps behind him. And he's a player that they got high hopes for here. Big number 9 for Watford. But he's got to defend here. He's 10 yards away from a Sheffield United free kick that Fleck is going to take. 8 minutes to go. Sheffield United looking for an equaliser. Egan with the free header across the face of goal. Nobody can follow it up. Cabaselli watches it wide. Big chance.
Big chance, because Sander Berger was in behind him as well. Free header. I don't think he's actually going for goal here. I think he's just trying to head it back across goal for somebody else, but no one was really on the move. And that's where the likes of Brewster and Cadra, that's where they should be on the move. Billy Sharp in the box. No one gambling. Maybe it was slightly too far in front of some of his teammates. I mean, I tell you what, Cadra's looked sharp since he's come on. Ball comes into feet and he's looked really, really good. A bit like Ndai, twists and turns. He's won things. He won that free kick. Enables the Blaze to put the ball into a dangerous area. He's looked really, really good.
Just an update, incidentally, from the away end, or of our view of the away end, where everything looks calm again now, and the consternation on the Sheffield United supporters that there was a problem up there. Seemingly it is in the process of being sorted out. You can still see some, right at the back of the stand, some high-vis jackets, as if something is still going on over there, but it's looking promising, I'm pleased to say. The game goes on with 7 minutes to go. Sheffield United trailing Watford by a goal to nil. Are they going to start their campaign with a home win for a third successive season, the Hornets? Ball chipped inside their penalty area, and Backman, who's not had too much to do, comes out and catches very cleanly, just about 8-9 yards off his line. Slowly pick himself back to his feet, as a winning goalkeeper is going to do in the 84th minute of a game. Bounces the ball down once, twice, and now a third time and a fourth, before punting it forward upfield. High right-footed spinning clearance towards the edge of the Sheffield United box, which is headed down by Egan, but brought under control by Tom Cleverley. Kamara, crossfield ball, intercepted by Osborne. Brewster tried to help it on, beat Kayembe, but Sierralta was there ahead of Sharp. Berger picks up the loose ball in the midfield. Brewster tries to turn it out towards Osborne, but overhit it, and it's out of play for a Watford throw. And although Sheffield United are having a little bit more possession as the game draws towards its conclusion, David Connolly, they're not putting fluid moves together. No, so. But I mean, the best route to goal looks like from a set piece, maybe. Ironically, they conceded from one of their own. But when they get the ball maybe wide in the box and from a sort of free kick or something, open play, they've really struggled. I mean, Bruce has got to get hold of it. Every time it's come into him, he's lost it. Flex slides in 50-50 with Cleverley. Both back on their feet, and the ball at the feet of Cleverley played into him, and then he's quickly dispensed with it to his right-hand side for Kamara. Kamara level with the edge of the Sheffield United penalty area. Second Watford goal surely seals it. It's Manai, left-footed, and easily saved in the end by Fodringham. Had to be Sharp getting down to his left, but would have been disappointed had that beaten him. But a cider for Ray Manai. 1-0 with 5 to go. Yeah, I think that'll do his confidence a world of good. Shift it onto his left foot, nice low strike. Fairly comfortable though for the goalkeeper at the near. Almost given to João Pedro by Cadra, but Egan, who looks as though he's labouring a little bit, understandable. 85 minutes in on a hot evening, you're trying to get your match fitness back again in the first weekend of the season. Cadra's got it now, right-footed, eased over the top for Sharp, but overhit and easily claimed by Daniel Backman. And Backman again will be in no hurry to get things going. It's just not enough though, is it? I think they've lost a little bit with Sander Berger just operating a little bit deeper as well, because they sort of went from one holder to two holders to get Cadra on the pitch as a number 10 playing behind two strikers, and it's just limited his forward runs really and his involvement in the game in an attacking sense. There's Brewster and Sharp up top for Sheffield United, and Cadra at 10 at the moment, with Osborne and Lowe at wing back, Berger alongside Fleck. And Watford are going to make a change, and it's the goal scorer João Pedro who's coming off to be replaced by Dan Gosling. Back in the picture for Watford at the start of this season, the likeable Devonian. He's glad to get some minutes under his belt again. João Pedro getting a hug from Rob Edwards as he leaves the field, and he might have done the job. I think so. I mean, there was a bit of an interview in the programme, a lot of talk about João Pedro, really well thought of by his teammates. I mean, when they talk about who's the best trainer or who's the most skillful, it's always João Pedro. And
as a player, you can tell he's really appreciated by his teammates, and he'll score bundles of goals this season.
He got 9 in his last championship campaign when he was only an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
So you would imagine that he will be, privately at least, targeting something probably about double that, and see how close he gets. You're not missing anything, because Sheffield United have a player down injured. Is it John Egan, who's gone down, receiving a little bit of treatment? They've made all of their changes as well, so if he can't continue, they're going to be a man light for the time that remains. 3 minutes plus stoppage time to go. It's going to be a fair bit of time added on. Could easily be 4 or 5 minutes. A few instructions just being given out now by Rob Edwards to Tom Cleverley. Cabaselli comes off towards this near side, just wanted to get some fluid on board, and he's given an energy drink and some water. Take your pick. So he's had a swig of both. Play's going to resume with a free kick to Sheffield United and Fotheringham. Egan is back on his feet. He's not back on the pitch yet, but he's going to be able to continue. In the 89th minute by the time this free kick is taken, Watford leading 1-0 here on TalkSport 2. Long ball driven forward, headed on by Brewster. Sharp trying to anticipate. Cabaselli got something on it, and something was good enough, with Kayembe doing the rest. And he goes out of play for a throw on the Sheffield United right, which Osborne will take.
Yeah, it's important flick on. I mean, Jefferson was doing that in the first half. Since he's gone off, they haven't really won a flick on, but that was better from Brewster. Oh, but that's not from Osborne.
Osborne taking the throw. Cadra giving him the return ball, and Osborne couldn't control it. So straight out of play for a throw. It'll be taken on the Watford left. Real collection of Watford home shirts in the crowd. We've got the vertical stripes and the hoops that we've seen over the last few years. This vintage is almost plain yellow, just with black down the side and so the sponsor's name on the front. But almost exclusively yellow, the Watford shirt this season. Ciraldo getting it forward. Headed down by Norrington Davis for Sheffield United. They then win the second ball, but can't release Cadra down the left. Cabaselli seeing to that. It's flicked back off Cadra, though. Comes down for Billy Sharp. Back to the direction of play. He's fed Cadra. 3 in the penalty area if he can get it in. We're in the 90th minute. United bringing it forward again over on that far touchline. Their left. Cadra. A little reverse ball. Berger made his way forward. Kayembe saw him coming. Flicks it away. Dennis can't hold it up. Egan back on the field now after that treatment. Can play it forward through the midfielder Fleck. Lowe has it for Sheffield United, but ran out of room. Pressurised by Cabaselli.
I mean, he passed it off the pitch. It's just... Look, he's under a bit of pressure, but I've got to say, I think the two wing-backs that have come on, Osborne and Lowe, have really struggled to get up to the game. They've lost possession far too many times, and Lowe again kicking the ball off the pitch.
6 minutes announced, and that brings a groan from the Watford supporters around us. A mate of mine who's here as a Watford fan saying that on his row there is Watford supporters who's a septuagenarian. He hasn't seen his team win here. He's come to every game that he can. He didn't because of COVID and a few worries, but he hasn't seen his team win here since they beat Liverpool before COVID. And he says he's unbelievably excited at the prospect that this could be the day. 6 minutes, even when you're 75, is going to feel like a lifetime. But they lead 1-0, and the Blades will bring the ball forward as they try and spoil the party. Sander Berger's got it. But there's no real huge sense of urgency for Sheffield United.
They don't have trouble at the minute either, Watford, do they? So, pretty comfortable.
Defensively, they've been resolute. They have kept clean sheets in the two highest profile friendlies that they've played pre-season. And they could be on their way to another here, although they conceded a needless free kick over on the touchline.
I'd be putting this in the box if I was Sheffield United. I mean, Brewster was going to take it early. I mean, you might as well wait, get Berger in the box, get the centre-halves up there. I think that's what they're going to do now. That's wise.
Well, Baldock stayed back, but everybody else is going to attack this. So Sheffield United have got Brewster sort of inside left, Osborne inside right, 4 in between them, everybody back for Watford, including Cathcart, who can easily head it away. It was just a looping nothing delivery really towards the edge of the penalty area. Berger's got it, and then Manai has dispossessed him, and Berger has pulled his shirt and will get a yellow card for that. He's the 6th player to have his name taken. Well, boss Paul Higginbottom's in the book as well.
Do you know what, Jim? Really frustrating if you're a Sheffield United fan, because they got a wide free kick. Sander Berger is the biggest player they've got, and he doesn't go in the box. He hangs 15 yards outside it. Yes, he picks up the second ball, but then he's waiting for an option, loses possession, gives away a free kick, and you think, well, why are you not in the box going to attack it?
Play resumes with a free kick. Backman taking it after that foul by Berger towards the edge of the penalty area. And Manai's given a free kick away here, just leaning into Baldock on the edge of the box. And it's a free kick that Sheffield United are going to take. And they are fast running out of time. 2.5 of the 6 extra minutes have already elapsed. The Blades bring it forward, Norrington Davis. Brewster's making his way towards the edge of the box. Kadra and Sharp both there as well. Berger down towards Kadra. Kadra taking it down towards the corner flag. Jinks back inside, taking it away from Cabaselli. Can Sheffield United get quality ball inside the penalty area? It's a little bit too low, and Kayembe leans to his right-hand side to steer it away. Now in the 4th minute of stoppage time, as the Blades will take an attacking throw down their left-hand side.
They've just got to beat the first man. I mean, you'd expect Kadra from there to do that. He doesn't.
Good quick throw taken. And Kadra, everything has gravitated towards him since he's come on. Cleverly whacks that one away and straight out of play for a throw. Throw which will be taken over on the far side. This is a Watford team who've taken 1 point from the last 13 home games, which was a goalless draw against Everton, their last home win against Manchester United, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the United manager. Claudio Ranieri was in charge of Watford. But they're nearly there. The Blades have possession though, trying to take on Kayembe, trying to stop a cross coming in, and he's managed that with the aid of Gosling. Gosling rolled it back for Kayembe, who flicked it up with his left boot and then whacked it clear towards halfway. Manai tried to take it on into Blades territory but couldn't, and it comes straight back again. Gosling playing it forward, straight to Fleck. He's fouled, and it's going to be a free kick, and another yellow card, is it? Yes, another. And it's Kamara this time, so that's the 7th player to have his name taken. But more importantly, another free kick to Sheffield United.
This time Sander Berger is going in the box. Let's see if they need a better delivery, just something close to him.
90 seconds to go. Free kick to be taken. John Fleck standing over it. High, left-footed ball, swung towards the edge of the penalty area. Egan heading it down, all about who wins the seconds. Berger trying to take it on, couldn't. Watford with everybody back, able to smuggle it away, and now might be able to hit on the counter-attack. Osborne struggling. He's up against Dennis here. Dennis happy to take it on in the general direction of the corner flag. Eventually worked it inside the box when there was no need to, seemingly, and Sheffield United will get it away. We've had 5 of the 6 minutes. Serralta clears, out of play for a Sheffield United throw. Should Dennis have just gone for the sanctuary of the corner flag there?
Yeah, probably, or just checked out. He had a lot of supporting behind him.
Another chance to play it forward, and it's taken 2 or 3 ricochets there off Baldock, and it is surely a Sheffield United throw. Baldock has gone down, might actually be given as a Watford throw, but it's smacked into Baldock right on the inside of the rib cage. So this is just going to prolong the agony, because the 6 minutes are going to be extended here. Play will resume with a Watford ball. They are very nearly there. They have possession in Sheffield United territory, and the 6 minutes by the time play resumes will be up. How much extra time is going to be added? Referee has looked at his watch. Watford have it with Sema. Level the edge of the penalty area. Clever backheel flick from him. Dennis wins the throw off Osborne. Dennis puts the ball in his hand. Surely he's not going to take it. Just try and waste a little bit of time. He has taken it. Actually finds Manai. Back from him to Sema. And that is victory for Watford. It's a home win for Watford. The side that lost 15 out of 19 here last season took only 8 points in the process, but they've got off to a winning start. The Rob Edwards era begins with a victory. Last season, a home win on the opening day proved to be the falsest of false dawns for the Hornets, but a sense that this time round it is going to be different. As João Pedro Tapin, 11 minutes into the second half, has got the job done. Sheffield United weren't happy about the manner of the goal, feeling that the positioning of the referee impeded them as they lost possession from a corner at the other end, but they didn't deal with the counter-attack. Watford scored, and on a day when chances were few and far between, it always had the feeling that one goal might, just might, be enough. The Blades got off to a poor start last season. They got off to a losing start this time around as well. It's Watford that have the opening weekend success, beating Sheffield United by a goal to nil.